Thanks, Wally Foreman. What a brilliant afternoon of sport we have, with big hockey match going on for the bronze medal and the big final here, the 1500 metres, featuring Steve Cram, Peter Elliott, the three Kenyans, and Steve Scott. Paula even ran 3:53 in the 1500 just a few minutes ago. Steve Cram has won them all except this. He's 27 years of age, European champion twice, Commonwealth champion twice, world champion in '83, world mile record holder, former world 1500 metre record holder. This is a big moment for Cram. I wonder what he's thinking about at the start of the final of the Olympic Games.
You often think, what the hell am I doing here? You know, it's that those last few minutes are pretty nerve-wracking. But I think it's also a sort of sense of let's get going. You know, you've had a long warm-up and you will have had the weeks of build-up and everything, and those last few minutes you really just want to get out there and get it over with, whatever the result is, because your first feeling when you cross the line, even when I've won races, it's just an immediate sense of relief that everything is over with, and then you can either start to enjoy the win or unfortunately, if you've lost, you can't quite enjoy it as much, obviously. But it's tough, obviously, but I enjoy it. You know, that's what I'm in the sport for, and if you can't cope with those last few minutes before the start, then you shouldn't be doing it.
So that's what the great man thinks about as he's about to take to the line in the 1500 final. Three Kenyans. Rono, will be a tactical race. Herold doesn't look as if he's going as well, the East German, but Peter Elliott and Steve Scott are going to provide great competition to Steve Cram and the Kenyans.
Yes, firstly, I think it's a question whether Cram's on song. If Cram is right, then he's a 10-metre better runner than anyone else in the field. It really depends just how good he is running, and we don't know. The big question mark is there. If he's not, there's the Kenyans and there's Peter Elliott. I've got a real hankering for Peter Elliott. He's really a man I admire very much, the way he's gone about his sport. And Steve Scott, I think those glasses he's wearing now, his latest fashion, are rose-coloured more than anything else, because he's running better than I've ever seen in his life, and he's a good runner.
So Cram, Elliott, Kulka, who was a finalist, a medalist in the European Championships. 877 silver from Portugal. 649 is Cheruiyot from Kenya. Now the Kenyans, are three of them. Cheruiyot, Cheshire, no socks Cheshire. Cheruiyot and Rono have both got socks, different coloured shoes. They can look alike. Atkinson, Khalifa's the oldest man in the field, 35 years of age. Peter Rono, the youngest, at 21. Some of the greats have won this event. Coe in 84 and 80. John Walker, who we spoke to half an hour ago, as we look at Steve Cram and Peter Elliott. Walker in 76. Kip Kino in 68. Peter Snell in 64. Herb Elliott in 1960. Those in Melbourne that day will remember Ron Delaney beating John Landy in 1956. There's Peter Elliott, 4:18. You have great feeling for him, Ron, as an athlete.
I have indeed. He runs a great tactical race. He's a very, very honest runner. He always runs a good race. And his approach has been, you couldn't have faulted. I don't think for these, both the heats and the semis, he's just put himself in the right position. And if anyone can beat Cram, I reckon it's that man, and also Steve Scott.
Kulka 5:13 from Holland, third in the Europeans. There's young Peter Rono, only 21 years of age, one of the great Kenyans, and there are so many. Marcus O'Sullivan, world indoor champion. Khalifa from Sudan, who's carried the torch for Sport Aid right across the world. 35 years of age. Jean-Peter Herold, who looked a great chance but had a knee operation just 6 weeks ago, and it's affected his form.
Yeah, 6 weeks ago I thought, if again he was the one that Cram might have trouble with, outside of a Wheater, of course, but no, not the way he ran his semi-final.
6:50 Cheshire, fourth in Los Angeles, fourth at the World Championships. 8:77 Mario Silva of Portugal, 27 years of age, only a semi-finalist at the World Championships. 6:49 the other Kenyan. Cheruiyot, 23 years of age, he ran in the heats in LA. There's Steve Scott clapping his teammate Jeff Atkinson. Scott, second in Helsinki, has been the great American for the past decade. Jim Ryan couldn't win in 68. Will it be Steve Scott today? How will Cram run? Will he try and dominate? Will he take off at 300 with that flowing stride of his? We're about to find out. A classic final. Blue ribbon event away. And immediately Peter Rono drops to the back with the other two Kenyans and Jeff Atkinson. Cram holds his position with O'Sullivan, Elliott, Kulka, Scott around the outside. Khalifa goes around the outside in the very bright strip, and the Kenyans at the back. Not too fast early. O'Sullivan, Cram, Khalifa, Elliott, Kulka, then Scott, Herold, Silva, Cheshire, Behind Cheshire, Rono. At the back, Cheruiyot, and just in front of him is Jeff Atkinson.
Surprised. I thought the Kenyans, okay, they usually go to the back in the first 200 or so, but I would have thought they would have then established themselves down this front straight, as it were, where they're coming up for 300 metres, and then set the pace up, but they're not going to bother.
3 laps out, O'Sullivan, Khalifa, then the 2 Brits. Cram inside Elliott. Coulter inside Scott. Herold. First of the Kenyans, Cheshire. Silver in front of him. Atkinson. 2 from the back is Peter Rono, and at the back is Cheruiyot. Cram's in a fairly awkward position there, Ron.
Yes, but this doesn't matter. I mean, the main tactical ploy is to be in the right position with a lap to go. Cram often gets on the inside in the early stages. Elliott is in a good position as well, though. Elliott can make certain he can cover anyone coming from the back, and the Kenyans have to make up their mind to come shortly.
Peter Rono may be the one to make a move. He's starting to come around them. This is Peter Rono, the 21-year-old. 2 laps out. O'Sullivan, Khalifa, Elliott, Cram, Rono. Steve Scott comfortable enough. Coulter. Second of the Kenyans come Cheshire. Still Cheruiyot last. Herold 3 from the back with Atkinson, Cheruiyot. 2 laps out. Peter Rono leads and Elliott responds immediately. Cram gets away from his position. He's in a good spot now. So Rono leads Elliott. Khalifa, Cram, O'Sullivan, then Cheshire. Herold's got through, but he's in a pocket. Coulter, it's not fast. Scott lost his position, has to go forward. Second of the Kenyans going forward, still Cheruiyot last. They start to accelerate. Cheshire goes up and joins Rono. Elliott and Cram is in 5th spot.
It's going to be a very, very fast last half.
Atkinson makes a move. Atkinson from the United States. So Rono leads Atkinson. Cram's in the right spot. He's moved up on the outside of Cheshire, and Scott follows Cram. Then Elliott, Herold. Cheruiyot saving something at the back. O'Sullivan just in front of him. 4:50 to go. Rono leads from Atkinson. Cheshire, Cram 3rd. Elliott moves up inside Cram. Scott, Khalifa. Herold tries to barge through. It's going to be a kick home. And Cheruiyot's about to take off from the back. Will Steve Cram win the gold medal? Rono leads. It's going to be a kick down. Elliott's in a good spot if he can get rid of Atkinson. Atkinson will drop off. Cram has to accelerate. Kenny. Then Herold. Scott, Cheruiyot. Don't know about Cram. Rono's running well. 2:50 out. Leads by a metre to Elliott. Cram, Herold, then Cheruiyot and Scott. They're running for their lives now. Rono's a metre up on Elliott. Will Cram accelerate off the bend? I don't know. I don't think so. Herold inside of him and Cheruiyot. Cram can't win. Rono leads from Elliott. Cram won't get to them. Herold's challenging. Rono's a metre in front. Elliott and Herold and Cram. Rono's holding them. The 21-year-old from Kenya wins. Elliott 2nd. Either Cram or Herold 3rd. Coulter, Scott. Then Cheruiyot, O'Sullivan, Silver, Atkinson, and Cheshire and Khalifa. 3:35.96. The baby of the field, the youngest man, Peter Rono, has won the gold medal for Kenya.
It was a 48-second last lap or so. Bruce, I had him going through the 3/4 mile in 43 or so. So it's a very, very fast last lap.
And for Cram, he ran it right, but the last lap was just too fast for him.
Yes, it's a surprise. I thought Cram was running well enough. He was in perfect position to go. In fact, he took the running up off Peter Elliott. He was in the right position. If he had the goods, he would have taken it then. Herold was a surprise. Herold has come through much better than what we expected. But that wasn't the majestic Cram that we've seen over the last year or two. Cram was not on the way that... He was just not the same runner as he'd been. He would have exploded 300 or 400 out with that pace. He would have been the one that would have been in Rono's position just 12 months ago. Well, 12 months ago, wouldn't he? I mean, he was just so much better then.
He was unlucky. He was injured in Rieti 23 days before the Seoul Olympics began. But the Kenyans, who have won the steeplechase and the 800, have now added the 1500. And Peter Rono joins Kip Kaino as a Kenyan to win the 1500 metres at the Olympic Games.
They've swept it, haven't they? They've won the steeple. I mean, it's an African game so far as far as the distance running is concerned.
It was a final that was all left in the last lap. And Rono was in the right spot, Gibbo. He put himself in front. Cram was poised, but he could not make it today. And I'm not too sure if he's got third. We'll watch this again because it is very close. Rono had a cheeky look. Elliott's running for his life. Herold's run well inside Cram, and this is where Cram had to come off their back, and he couldn't do it from here.
Yes, this was a sign, as you called it, Bruce. If Cram had had it, he would have been up to Rono's shoulder by now, again going past him as he hit the straight. And he wasn't. It just wasn't there. Peter was surprised. Peter Elliott was waiting for Cram, I think, almost then, and was surprised he couldn't come back. He pulled out, as he always does, Elliott. People can always run on the inside of him, but Herold was not running for first because he had no room to get past Rono. He was running for second, and therefore really clenching himself. He was really, you know, too close to the man in front.
So, and run after that young man from Morocco left him the other day out there, and now this young man from Kenya. It's becoming a bit of a youngsters' games.
It is indeed, isn't it? Yeah. Surprise, yeah. 21-year-olds have come through.
And I think, Gibbo, Cram might have just missed third. It's desperately close. I think Herold's just got third. Rono wins. Peter Elliott, who was second in the 800. Watch Cram. He wants some Olympic gold medal. He's got a silver from LA. Does he get a bronze here? We look here. It's nothing in it. You take your pick. Herold, I think Herold. Rono, his face says it all, the young fellow. He couldn't believe it when he went to the line. Somebody that we'd hardly heard of when he first came to Seoul.
He's looking around. He's waiting for Cram to come past him. Look, he's looked 5 times so far and no one's come past him. Can't believe it.
So there's a 1500 final. Peter Rono of Kenya wins. Second place to Peter Elliott, and we think Jean-Peter Herold is third. Back to you, Gibbo. We've still got a big day of athletics with the 5,000 coming up, and then that world record attempt by the Americans in the 4x4.
Yes, as we said before the games, for the first time in 12 years, they're all here, the Eastern Bloc, the Americans and the Black African nations, and what a feast of athletics we're having at these games of the 24th Olympiad. We'll be back with more in a moment. We'll take you back out live to the bronze medal match in the men's hockey, Australia versus the Netherlands.